Fathers Who Bother is made possible in part by the contributions of listeners like you. To support Fathers Who Bother, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Fathers Who Bother and become a monthly subscriber today. On the next episode of Fathers Who Bother, I talked to Donwill of Tanya Morgan about getting whooped in Mario Kart by his daughter, inheriting his dad's sense of style, parenting advice from Phonte, and more. Hey, welcome to Fathers Who Bother, a podcast for men who are dad as we want to be. My next guest is a rapper, producer, DJ, comedian, and one of the best tweeters on the planet. He is a native of Cincinnati, now calling Brooklyn home. As one half of the rap group Tanya Morgan, he has released 4 studio albums, and the 5th, Don and Von, drops on August 13th. As a solo act, he's released several projects, including his debut, Don Cusack and High Fidelity, and One Word, No Space. He's produced music for Last Week Tonight with John Oliver and BuzzFeed's Another Round podcast, just to name a few. He co-hosts Shouting at the Screen with Wyatt Cenac and was a music consultant for Cenac's Problem Areas on HBO. But today we're going to talk about his gig as dad. Please welcome Donwill to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm giving myself a round of applause.
Oh, I usually put him in post because I'm not fly enough to have one of those applause buttons yet, since this is a very DIY setup. But yes, you can clap for yourself all you want. So I'm going to start this with an apology, because I had a real life "tell me you haven't played my album without saying you haven't played my album" moment. Because I didn't know, to everybody listening, I didn't know Don had a child until very recently, and I didn't know or I completely forgot. He mentioned it in an email. He sent me an email about the new Tanya Morgan album. He was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, good looks on the podcast. As a single dad, it means a lot to me." And I was like, "Word? You got a kid?" So, of course, I asked him to come to the podcast and, let's talk fatherhood and plug the album.
Here we are.
I'm doing my prep, doing my usual preparation. I say, I'm going to check the Instagrams. I'm going to listen to the music. So I play the very first track on One Word, No Space. The very first song, one word, he says, "My little girl healthy. She happy when she see me. Will you be on my album?" No. So I want to publicly apologize for not listening to One Word, No Space until today. And to tell you all that the shit bangs, don't be like Jerry. Go listen to One Word, No Space and 2021 Space. Don't be like Jerry. But it's not all my fault, because so I just had to start saying that, but it's not all my fault, because I usually go by social media posts. And
yeah,
I the last time I went through your feed, the last post I saw of your daughter was like from 2017, and Instagram doesn't show me a lot of your stuff. I'm gonna be straight up. Like, I see your tweets, but Instagram, when I went through your feed, I was like, "Yo, I didn't see this. And I'm like, how did I not see any of this?" So
Instagram's algorithm, you have to manually engage with stuff. Like, if you follow somebody new today, it'll show you their shit. But like, I think it takes that moment where it's like, we're gonna show you this and take this person away from your feed. So like,
wow.
like I comment on people's stuff a lot to like let Instagram know I want to see this. Like, it's crazy. You got to train your algorithms, basically.
So yeah, I gotta go and like a whole. So when you see all the likes from your pictures, for me, it's not me stalking you. It's not me shooting my shot. It's just me trying to tell the. That's how guys do. They want to tell a girl that they like her without saying they like them. They just gonna like a whole bunch of their pictures, and then they end up being a screenshot in Instagram stories. "Look at this thirsty dude liking all my pictures. Why don't he just say something?" Anyway, so I want to start. So since I'm being introduced to your daughter, I want to give you the opportunity. Tell us about the time you found out you were going to be a dad.
All right. Well, I found out I was going to be a dad once I was a dad. So it was just kind of like, it was like, wait, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was. I got the call. It wasn't like an Usher confessions call, but it was, but it was definitely one of those a life-changing call, and it was one of those calls, like, it was unexpected. It wasn't like a, I've lived a long life. I'll just say that.
Right.
But yeah, from that point forward, it was just letting everybody know, like letting my mom, my family, my friends know, and just, you know what I'm saying, like, going to embark on the new chapter of my life. You know what I'm saying?
So how did you go about preparing? Like what was going on? Because obviously it wasn't a situation where you were in a relationship with her mom at the time, right? So what's going through your head at this time, and how are you preparing for this, like you said, life-changing event?
Well, I was in a relationship. I just wasn't. Things got really messy and things fell apart. A lot of shit fell apart. A lot of stuff fell apart over the course of the first few years of being a father. But like in the immediate moment, like that moment where, you know, I found out and had to more or less relay the information. There were just a lot of hard, like some conversations were hard, some conversations were easy. And all the conversations kind of just showed who everybody was within my life at that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like their response to the news kind of was like, oh, well, I guess you won't be around then. Because you know what I'm saying? Like, or I guess you will be around, or like, you know. Funny enough, you mentioned Phonte. I believe you mentioned Phonte.
Maybe yes, when we started talking, maybe not when we were recording, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was one of the calls. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause me and Phonte, man, that's like my brother. Like outside of music, like we talk about life a lot. You know what I'm saying? And he's one of the dudes. I lean on him, he leans on me, and like it was just on some, you know, like, hey man, what do I need to be expecting as a father? You know what I'm saying? Because again, like I wanted to lean on my community and lean on other fathers I knew to figure out, you know, because I didn't take the journey of pregnancy and coming to term and deliver. I didn't take that journey. So you know, I just it fell on me in a way. And I didn't have time, like I didn't have time to like wrap my mind around the concept so much as I just had to like deal with the reality of it, you know.
So it wasn't a I'm pregnant call, is you have a child call.
Yeah.
Wow. I say that, but I know men personally who got that call, or it wasn't so much a call, but it was like Facebook, a grown child reaching out to them saying, hey, by the way, I think you might be my dad. Like that's happened, you know. So
yeah, you know, and I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, don't feel like it's an aberration or that it's somehow not, it's unique. It happens more often than you might think.
It's absolutely not an aberration. It's you know, like it's just my story. You know what I'm saying? I've been grappling with how to talk about it and how to tell my story for a long time, just mainly because you know, I feel like everybody's story is unique, and no matter how run of the mill or normal or abnormal your story may seem to be, it's still your story, and you got to figure out how to relay it. But you know, for me, it was just that it it was definitely a moment where I was like, all right, you got a lot to figure out. You have a lot to figure out.
So when did you meet her? When did you meet your daughter?
I want to say she had to be like up 2 months old. Like she doesn't know a world without me. You know what I'm saying? It's not like like she's not into podcasts. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, she's not listening to this. But you know, I feel like if she ever does ask me that conception story and all that stuff, and like my stuff, you know, I'm open book. I don't know how to lie. I don't know how to. My face gives away the story if I don't tell the story. So you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like this is it's one of those things where, you know, I went down there immediately, held her. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, cool. Now, yep, this is me. had to put eyes on it, you know, eyes on the situation. Like, all right, cool.
Right. She looked like me. She got that Williams.
Well, you know, the other thing too about kids, man, is like they don't get their face for a little while. So you know what I'm saying? Yes. Like her face, if you like now, she looks almost exactly like me. It's kind of weird for me looking at her like, oh, that's just 8-year-old me. That's just 10-year-old me. It's fucking crazy. Right. Yeah.
But when they're first born, God knows, like there's a morph of hair. The hair isn't the same. The skin, some kids start out lighter and get darker. If you're talking about black kids, you know, because my dad looked at me and was like, my dad is, you know, several shades darker than me, and he looked at me like, what?
Yeah,
I
that's
was
like
light bright. But then he met my grandmother, was like, oh, I understand now. Because my grandmother was super light. Yeah.
my daughter, when she was born, she definitely was lighter. She's like, I want to say she didn't start browning up until like 3.
Oh,
Like
wow.
she was always just kind of like a lighter child, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
And then
right,
like
right,
now she's just my shade.
right. So
Like
what's
her mom says she wasn't really involved in the you know, because she just looks like she literally just looks like me. She's like, what part of me is involved in this person?
so what was it like, when you got her by yourself and it was just you and her? Like, what was that like?
Oh man, it's terrifying. It was fucking terrifying. I'm not even gonna front because again, like you know, I come from a family like I'm always around kids. You know, I'm an uncle to several to many. I've been around kids, but I never like held a child. Had to like not I won't say held, but like at length had to hold, comfort, change, feed, like do all the things to keep a person alive. Like you don't really because again, I think that when you're taking the journey with your partner and it's just like, all right, so we got to figure this thing out. And when the baby arrives, you guys kind of can sight sight solve the problem and figure things out. For me, it was just like, when her mom was around, like when I was with her mom, hanging out, we would, I would get information, but sometimes it was just me, like just me, just me with an infant, and like, yo, I don't know if I'm good at changing diapers, but the diapers got changed.
You figured it out.
Definitely was like a loose side, like it was, the diapers was all I messed up a couple diapers, you know what I'm saying?
She wasn't like the great baby that like twisted it and just took a poop on the floor. Like
No, she was honestly a really good, like I don't know good or bad babies, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't, but she was like a mild kid, you know what I'm saying? Really well behaved. She didn't start like crying until 2-3. Like 2-3 was when it was like, oh God, what is what is this?
What was it about? Was it like hunger, just wanting stuff, just discomfort? What was the crying about?
I think that now that she's 11 now that she's older, I know that a lot of times when sometimes when children cry, it's literally just vocal exercises. You know what I'm saying? Like your body, things are happening inside your body and parts of you are developing that like you're getting vocal cords. That's weird. You know what I'm saying? Like you rationalize it by, like sometimes it hurts, sometimes you're just using your vocal cords, and sometimes it is hunger. But it definitely was, it just was noise, like when I say noise, I mean like her learning how to use her voice in a lot of ways. Yeah.
So one of my earliest memories was doing the shopping for my kid, for my son. He's 18 now. But one of my earliest memories was I was working at the Source and having to go to the children's place down the block to get him a winter coat. And it was the first time I said out loud to somebody, I was with my boy Mecca, I was like, I gotta go get a coat for my son. It was the first time I said my son out loud.
Yeah.
So when did you start getting into the whole I gotta go buy baby food or I gotta go buy stuff and get a space ready? Like, I'm just assuming like when you had her, you had to create a space.
Yeah, I mean
for her.
It was immediate. Like it definitely, because again, like it was such an abrupt change. Like I'm in Brooklyn. I've been living in Brooklyn the whole time, and Brooklyn shit. Like I had my first little apartment by myself. It was a small studio apartment. You know what I'm saying? No,
right.
My bad. It was I was a roommate. I had a roommate like for a couple months. I had just moved up here. I had a little roommate, and when I found out, I was like, all right, I got to get my own place. Like it just like I want to say within 2 or 3 months, I had a place. I had a spot, and like I had plans. My sight set on getting a bigger place so she could have a room and all that stuff. Right. But it definitely was a moment where that's what I meant. Like you got to get your shit together. Your life has to change. Just mainly because I was basically playing catch up. Like I didn't get to have a nursery prepped and like start painting the nursery and getting the little what's the little thing you put over
the mobiles and
Mobiles.
stuff
I got
over the crib. Right.
totally messed up my analogy with my brain fart, but yeah, like I didn't get to prepare space ahead of time, so it was just like, all right, retroactively, how do I make up for this? And like, you know, it and you know, there's certain like kids when they're small, they're whatever a child is introduced to is normal.
Mm.
So, you know, like when you hear stories about people growing up in like a 1-bedroom apartment with mad brothers and sisters and shit, like that's just normal. It's not like you don't think your family's different until you start getting exposed to other things.
Mm.
And I think my daughter just knew that like her dad's space was kind of like a shared communal space in terms of like a living quarters.
Right.
And when I got a different space with a room for her and all that shit later down the line. Yeah. But nice. I think that I really went around the block answering this question, and I apologize.
It's fine. We got time. No rush.
But yeah, it was just like, you know, immediately like, oh, I have to go get things for my daughter, for my kid. It like the first time you say it out loud, it just sounds strange. You know what I'm saying? Sounds like I'm a full adult now. You know what I'm saying?
I'm responsible for another human being. That's the thing that went through my head. Like, oh my God, this child's everything is dependent on me. Well, and my wife. You know, it's like this kid don't eat unless we do it. This kid doesn't get bathed unless we do it. This kid doesn't get changed or clothed unless we do it. And it's just like, oh my God, you know. Yeah, coming to grips with that.
It's so big to like see how much another person's life depends on your life. It depends on your actions. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not even it's bigger than just like heating up the formula or heating up the milk and then feeding the child or like changing your diapers. It's what you do outside the house when they're not around. And it's the people you choose to keep company with, or the people that, you know, like the people in your phone who you can pick up the phone and call and ask for help or ask for advice, versus not having that infrastructure set up in the beginning and figuring out what that looks like moving forward.
So do you remember what Phonte told you, or anything that he told you?
He was just he was just like, you know, he was, you know, Phonte. I'm trying to remember, like, because this was a while ago, but I just know he said some shit like, you know, like your life is different now, man. You know what I'm saying? like
he probably be like, you gotta put the Jordans away, brother. You gotta find a separate room for the Jordans. You know, your budget for your Jordans is now gone, my brother.
A lot of it was just, you know, like man, like, you know, like how to carry yourself as a father, more or less, more than parenting advice. Because it was like, you know, like you can give a person parenting advice, but everybody's life is different. Everybody's situation is different. Your child may have issues or problems that another child doesn't. So parenting advice, he was just like, you know, take everything as it comes. You know, you'll learn as you go, because that's the only way to figure it out. Like there's no magical advice from the hilltop. Like it's literally just, right. I guess I did that wrong. Won't do that again. Whatever. Like, you know, like just in terms of creating a space where you feel okay making mistakes as a parent, because all parents make mistakes, and it's not necessarily about you know, like doing everything perfect, because you won't. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure you're doing, and that's kind of like the gist. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you're actively trying and getting better and failing, because again, that's the only way you get better at being a parent.
Right.
But as just like a man, you know what I'm saying? It's like it was, because again, you got to remember, I was going through relationship stuff. There was a lot going on, so I kind of called for the sage wisdom of Pastor Fontigolo to kind of. I need the spirits to guide me, and he was just like, you know, like, man, like whatever problems you think you have, your child's life is bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? So like whatever kind of like things you might be going through, you know, with her, or whatever things you're going through with her mom or anybody, you know, like just keep in mind that at the end of the day, you want to be able to like have a good relationship with the kid. period. And you know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of number one, and don't let nothing knock you off that square. You know what I'm saying?
For real. And
Yeah.
if my math is right, so this is around 2010.
Yeah, it is 2010. Yeah.
It's 2010. So talk to me about what's going on with you career-wise at that moment, because I feel like that's when your debut dropped that year.
It was my day.
Cast.
It was that was 09, I believe, because it was
okay.
It was we were this was right around like the sandwich shop thing. Like so much was happening at that. Like Ilias was leaving the group. We were trying to figure out what touring looked like. We had a lot of like we would book shows and promoters would just be like, there's only two of you, and we'd be like, he's not gonna make it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was a lot of that. What album was coming? I'm really bad with chronological stuff, which sucks for this level of calculation.
It's fine. It's fine.
I want to say the next project after that we had worked on was we started working on You Get What You Pay For, I believe. I believe we started working on that because that album had a lot of it was shelved for a long time. It was shelved for a couple of years, to be honest. But Rubber Souls was the album.
Rubber Souls, okay.
Rubber Souls was the album that we got the deal for Rubber Souls, tried to get a deal for You Get What You Pay For. So we submitted, we turned in You Get What You Pay For as a, like, we're interested in putting this out in the label. It's like, how about we do this other thing? Fine. But, honestly, it was all such a blur because so much was changing. You know what I'm saying? Like from the group to romance to adulthood and parenthood. Like, there were just so many different things changing that I was tackling everything head on. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't like shying away from any of the fights. So it just, now looking back, it kind of all just seems like one block of things. But yeah, just figuring out how to have a career and, you know what I'm saying, like still be an active parent. And how to co-parent in two cities. It was just a lot to figure out, man. Especially when you're co-parenting a newborn and a small child, and you don't want to, I didn't want to miss milestones, so I was taking the bus down there, I was taking the train down, I was flying down when I could, and because she lives in Virginia, and it was just there was a lot of back and forth traveling. Like when I wasn't on the road, I was on the road. You know what I'm saying?
I can dig it.
Yeah.
So what's your relationship like with her? Like what's the daddy-daughter dynamic like?
She's a little weirdo, which is, I say that lovingly. She's like the strangest, funniest, most beautiful, amazing person in the world. Like she comes up for the summer, so I have her for the summers. I didn't have her last summer because of COVID. Summers are holidays, and I get down during the year. But like we were hanging out for the last few weeks, and she is probably one of the funniest people I know. And I know a lot of comedians. But man, she's fucking hilarious. You know what I'm saying? But the daddy-daughter dynamic, we get along. I'm very open and honest. Like this is to be completely transparent. Like this is the part of her life that I've been excited about. Like the preteen, when I can just talk to you and I don't have to deal with the myth of Santa Claus, or I don't have to deal with the Tooth Fairy. I can just be like, this is life, and we can Google it up together, and I can give you answers about historical context of things. And I think sometimes when I answer her questions, she looks at me like, nigga, who are you? What are you talking about? Because
really, what?
I'll be like, I'll go into like systemic oppression and shit, and she'll just be looking like, nigga, like, all I asked you was how come that picture's on the wall in that restaurant?
That's a tough thing because we're kind of neck and neck. My daughter's 12, and so I know that age where they have questions, but they're starting to form their own opinions about things. My daughter's queen of shade, super snarky kid. Her commentary on the world and things is just hilarious. It all came out when we got her a phone. because she's typically, she's vocal, but now that she can type things out and think them through, we're getting all this, all the thoughts, all the snark, all the things I'm like, wait, what, you were thinking this whole time? Like how? Like why? So I understand how it feels that she's not that she's looking at you like, huh? So I had to adjust how I explain things, because I'm used to talking to her brother who's more advanced. He just finished his first year of college. So if she asked me a question like what she asked, like, why are people so awful? But now she understands. She's like, yeah, people are just bad. Some people just don't want people to be happy, so it doesn't take as much, but you have to adjust to satisfy their curiosity without stumping them at the same time. But this is such a great age where they're really coming into their own personality,
Yeah, like especially if you just just take the time to talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not even it's no big rocket science thing. It's not like a how do I get through? It's just in the moments where my daughter feels the most comfortable are the moments where I choose to really have conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like those conversations are free ranging, and you can figure out so much about who they are as a person and what their interests are and everything. And like she'll say some things. She'll just have these astute observations on just life and people and culture and like instead of giving her pushback and being like, why do you think that? If anything, I'll like mine it a little bit deeper and like try to like just support her ideas or like help her flesh out her ideas a little bit more. Like sometimes she has like she was like at this part where she doesn't really like white people. And yeah, like it's like, well, I won't say she doesn't like white people. She was making a lot of jokes about white people. Like she lived through Trump's presidency. She lived through all of the whole George Floyd.
Yes.
And she lived through it at an age where she's figuring out who she is and she's figuring out what she is as a Black woman and all this stuff. So, and she's also processing this all through the lens of the internet. Like, what I'm saying? Like the ways in which that we were delivered information is different. Like, what I'm saying? Like everything is different in terms of development, but the only thing that's not different is communicate, like having a conversation with people. And luckily she feels comfortable enough to talk to me. So she would, sometimes she would make jokes, and me being who I am, like I would either like dissect the joke and be like, well, this is funny, but the punchline doesn't really land. So if you want to move the words around, and she would just kind of be like, what? Okay, yeah, you ruined the moment. But and sometimes, like I just wanted to instill in her that, the internet is great, but you have to be 100% willing to say whatever you want to say about a person to that person or
to their face. Yes.
To their face. Like you can't, like the internet kind of like is a breeding ground for an anonymous celebrity in a way where like you can become an avatar of who you really are and like make memes and jokes. And I might be funny on Twitter, but you meet me in real life and I'm just not a funny person. Like I'm just a sad, mean, crotchety man. That's not true. I'm just saying like
right. As an example, right.
Yeah, I just wanted to like let her know like like you can have these jokes and thoughts and they're funny, and I don't know if you're getting them off of the internet or if they're coming from directly your mind, but I want you to know that like like you have to be willing to share these thoughts with the people you think them about. And if that's poetry, if that's comedy, if that's whatever it is, I'm not pushing you into any career field, but I'm just saying that you're not gonna have no Twitter fingers. So.
Right. See, my
I'm
daughter
not raising Twitter fingers.
It's not white people in general. It's Karens. She has
that's what it is.
Commentary on Karens. We share the videos in the group chats and stuff, and she's like, "Oh my God, this is the final boss, Karen. Look at her. Yeah. She has such a specific, attitude or thought process regarding them, and we'll tell her stories about people at work. It's like, oh, she sounds like a Karen. She sounds like a super boss Karen.
Thank you. That made me feel so much better because like again, like you do this stuff in a vacuum sometimes, and I didn't realize that like that's just kind of like a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Well, my daughter, it's not all white people. It's not like, look at that white man. It's
Yeah,
more or
right,
less
right.
like, look at these raisins in this macaroni. What the hell is happening?
Exactly. Because we like to share a lot of the food memes and stuff, and she just gets so offended at some of the things she sees. Like, oh my God, like you said, the raisins in the salad and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, so she has a very strong opinions about things like that. That's crazy. Do you guys have something that you do together that's your thing? Like our thing is video games. We play PlayStation together. Like if you guys have something you guys do, just you and your daughter?
We do play Nintendo Switch. We play
Okay.
Mario Kart. It's Mario Kart. And now I finally broke down and bought the online plan so that I can play her virtually. But now
Nice.
you know what I'm saying? Like we usually play in person. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
that's kind of our thing. That, and we get a lot of ice cream, which
Oh,
I don't
word.
really eat a lot of like ice cream and stuff when she's not around. I kind of like, I'm not on like my super health way, but I'm an older black man, and if you don't
Facts.
want the black to crack, you got to take care of it. You know.
These expensive jeans. Once again, Phonte.
Listen,
Shout out Phonte.
this Phonte is the he's the spirit god of this podcast.
He is. He was my first guest. I don't know if you've heard the story, but this podcast was originally called Diary of a Mad Black Man, and he was a Diary of a Mad Black Daddy, inspired by the little brother.
Yeah.
And I reached out to him. He was the first person I reached out to, like, yo, would you be cool if I called it this? He was like, sure, blah, blah, blah. I eventually changed it, but I was like, yo, I still want you to be on it. And he was my first guest. So trust me, this is a great full circle moment, because this is the 49th episode. I'm recording the 50th, and then, going to take a little break, but this is a milestone episode. So it makes sense that we're coming.
I'm happy I could be a part of the full circle moment.
Yes, absolutely. So ice cream, yes.
Ice cream, Nintendo Switch, and we also like whenever she comes, the traditions are like we have a couple spots we got to hit. Like we got to hit the beach, we got to hit Brooklyn Bridge Park, we got to hit. It was the kids museum, but she's a little bit. She don't want the kids museum no more. But But again, like
for that daddy, that's for babies.
Yeah. but the beach is definitely like one of those things. And again, like she draws certain things out of my personality, because I love the ocean. I'm like, it's beautiful. I like to go look at it, whatever. But I'm not a beach person. I'm not one to like go to the beach and hang out and play. You know what I'm saying? Get in the water. But when she's around, I'm like, whatever let's do it. Let's fucking go. And it's super fun. But so it's almost like if I go to the beach, I feel a little bit guilty.
If you go to the beach without her?
Yeah, I feel a little bit guilty.
Yeah, that's me with I can't play PlayStation solo anymore. Like I used to play video games by myself all the time, but I can't bring myself to sit there and play a game without her anymore. It just doesn't feel right. It's like
that's like, again, like that was that's how it is with Mario Kart for me. Like I don't just sit around and play it. Like I play it when she's around.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I got the Switch. I got the Switch for me. I didn't get the Switch like this is what we're gonna connect over. It just became like, all right, well, this is our thing now. Yeah.
My PlayStation was a Father's Day gift. Like I sent it kind of as a half joke, because I think the prices were dropping. This was 2 or 3 years ago, and I was like, yo, PlayStation 4 the price isn't that bad, and my wife actually got it. I was like, oh shit, cool. And then me and my son would play a little bit, but then like my daughter got into it, and we were like, oh. So we both like fighting games. So we playing Marvel vs. Capcom and Injustice and Samurai Showdown. And she just whooped my ass. Her whole thing is button mashing. Like she don't follow moves, nothing. She just wants to know, how did you do the super move, and how can I kick your ass as quickly as possible? That's all she cares about. She don't block.
We were playing Super Smash Bros. She kept beating me, so I was like, let's play something. Let's play something to level the playing field, because this is not fun.
What is it about the kids whooping our ass in these fighting games? Help me understand this.
I wish I knew, man, but like, because again, like I'm slow and methodical, and I'm trying to like have like tactical moves, and she's just like rushing me, and I'm like, yo, what? This is not fun for me. But even Mario Kart, like when we're racing, I kind of can get her. The battles. No battles. I'm toast every time.
Yeah, because she'll just the things we have like rules Like, you don't spam somebody and just keep using the jab button over and over and over again. She don't care. She will swing that sword or whatever's hitting me. Like, I won't even have time to recover. I'm on the ground because, you know, like with Soul Calibur, I'm on the you can be on the ground and they can still hit you. Like, I'm trying to get up and block it. I don't even have time to get up and press defend before she's swinging at me more. I'm like, what the hell? Like, this is no gentleman's fight. You just brawling out here, but
nope.
She enjoys it. No respect whatsoever. Like, come on, son. So what about your music? Has she listened to daddy's music at all?
Yes and no. Like I make her. I don't make her. I play it for her when I'm around her,
Right.
and she's always kind of just like, yeah, cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? But she's like I remember one time she was like, I was playing some stuff in the car. She was like, is that you? And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, okay. Like I you know, it's like she ID'd my voice. But she's definitely not like an active listener of my stuff. You know what I'm saying? Right. Which is, you know, it's fine. I just got to figure out how to make a song that she likes. She likes Nicki Minaj, which
okay.
I know it's 100% because of like the costumes and like the rah, 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 like the voices. Because she does a lot of characters and animated voices and stuff. Like that's kind of like her jam. She
your daughter does.
Yeah,
nice.
She does characters pretty much. I want to say like half of the time we're hanging out, like it's always a different character, that's what I mean. Like she's like this such a fun little weird person, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because, you know, like for me, like I work in comedy a lot, and like for me, it's just like I get to do a character too. So it's just like, oh, you're doing that character. Like she does like she's like, Father, can you please give me more food, Father? Like that kind of thing. And I'll play like the role of like an emperor or some shit, or like sometimes I'll like be another pauper with her. And like we just kind of bug out like that, you know what I'm saying?
Does she have names for the characters?
No, I like what she just kind of like goes in and out of them, you know what I'm saying? Like it's weird as hell, but it's
that's awesome. Dope, because my kids are both artists. They like to draw. So my daughter's thing is she creates characters, she'll draw them and she'll give them names, but then she'll give them personalities and backstories and the whole nine. And she's just sitting there telling me, so on this world, they're doing this, and then now they're doing that, and they're interacting. And I'm just sitting here like, she's created an entire like cartoon universe of her own. And I'm just sitting back in awe, like, this is so dope. So I totally get it.
That's the only frustrating thing I say for me is that she does she journals a lot. She draws in her journal, and like I think she has like a couple of things on her phone that she's like a Pocket Procreate app. She used to draw a lot, and she kind of took her drawing inward in a way where, like, you know, she doesn't really share it so much. And, you know, as a parent, you kind of want to do whatever you can to bolster their creativity and like make sure you're like, oh, you're interested in that. Like if she told me she was interested in, I don't know, like clog dancing, I would buy her clogs and get her lessons. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck what it is. Whatever you want to do, let's figure this shit out. It's awesome. But yeah, so like I really want to like, I want to see her art, and I want to see like the world she builds. But if she's not comfortable sharing it, I'm also not like in the business of being like forcing her to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because again, like for me anyway, I want to foster this level of agency and trust, and like her feeling like it's safe when she feels like it's safe for her to reveal that part of whatever she's creating and developing. By all means, I'm here for it. But in the meantime, I just have to look from outside the house with my hand on the window, like, oh, looks like you're creating something that's really dope. Maybe I'll see it one day.
I'm sure she'll share it with you eventually, and it'll be awesome. So what was your relationship like with your dad?
It was, I want to say around high school, we started butting heads a little bit. Like, you know, man, like, you know, two grown men.
Yep.
It's kind of like,
yep.
Like I'm in his space, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of deal. Well, that was post high school, but high school, I started being more mannish and trying to find my way in the world and staying out and not really necessarily, you know, you kind of put that wall up for your parents where it's just like, nah, man, I know what I'm doing and blah, blah, blah. But childhood, like it was definitely a me trying to be him thing. Like I definitely spent a lot of my formative years, like elementary school to middle school, just my dad's drinking coffee in the morning. I want coffee too, mom. Like I remember my mom would, she said she would like, he would get coffee and I would get a cup of milk with a splash of coffee because I just wanted, it had to be brown like his. And he would read the paper. I would read the little funny papers. You know what I'm saying? Like I would read the funnies next to him. He would be reading the paper and shit. So like I was literally just mimicking him, like just trying to be him. And to this day, a habit that carries over is every Sunday I watch CBS News Sunday morning because that was a thing that you know, it got strained a little bit around college, just based adult shit.
I know.
And when he passed, he had got cancer. Like I want to say, I forget, I'm bad with the years, but he had got cancer in like the early 2000s and he beat it. And that was kind of the point of repair for our relationship, where it was like, all right, mortality is a motherfucker. Let me sort this shit out. And we like, I just came to him at that point. You know what I'm saying? I would go every Sunday. I would go spend a Sunday with him, watch the game. We would drink beer, have some wings, whatever. I would spend the whole day there Sunday because I moved out.
Right.
And you know, as cancer came back eventually, and then it went from wings and beer to just kind of being like, he's not drinking no more. He's kind of eating healthier at my mom's behest because, you know, like nigga would have kept eating wings if he could. But the through line always was sitting down and watching CBS News Sunday, like every Sunday. And we would watch that and it was slingshot into the games. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not a big sports person. I've never really been big into sports. Well, I won't say never, but you know, I'm just not a big sports person. But with him, I would just kind of talk sports. And I would like ask him mad questions about what the hell was that like. So what is this? Part of it was just kind of like just having a conversation. Like sometimes I knew the answer to the question. It was just
wanted to have something to talk about. It
was just trying to figure out how to relate to him in a way, because you know, like I definitely knew that, you know, there would be a time where he wouldn't be there. And I was like, well, let me at least try to make as many good memories as I can. You know what I'm saying?
What are one of those good memories for you?
Oh man, well, my dad was like, everybody says he's the coolest dude they've ever met. Like, so like me wanting to be like him was justified. Like he, hands down, I don't know anybody that didn't like my dad, and like he was a hilarious person, you know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say, there was one time in high school, you know, I came from the kind of house where it was just like, if I was a rambunctious teenager, and my parents basically said, if you're going to skip school, which we know you are, come home. We don't want you in the streets. You know what I'm saying? We don't want you doing some wayward shit because you feel like you can't come home. If you feel like you're not, I was just skipping school. You know what I'm saying? So I started coming home and not throwing skip parties. I definitely didn't have like 20 niggas in the house, but you know, me and my buddies, like 4 or 5 dudes, we would just leave school and come to my house. And I remember one day my dad came home and everybody was just like, oh, what's this? What is that? And I'm just sitting there like, it's just my dad. They're like, we're supposed to be. I'm like, it's fine. Trust me, it's fine. So he comes, we were downstairs. He comes in the basement and he looks and everybody just kind of froze up and they're like, oh shit. He was like, Donald, what y'all doing? Y'all ain't got no girls. Y'all niggas is silly as fuck. And he went upstairs and everybody, like, you already know, like everybody's like, oh shit, your dad's so cool. Because it was just that thing of like his comedic timing was perfect. And like, I think he probably spaced it out more. He was like, Donald, what the hell are y'all doing down here? What? I see Jay, what are y'all ain't got no girls? Man, y'all niggas is silly. It just went upstairs. But so that should tell you everything you need to know about my dad. Like he definitely was one of the coolest, one of the most loving people. Like I never really, I'm not one of those people that comes from he showed me affection, physical affection. You know what I'm saying? He would kiss me on the cheek. He would hug me. He would tell me he loved me. You know what I'm saying? It was like, we definitely had the type of relationship that, you know, when I think back on the time I spent with him, the time he was here, even in our little, like the years where we kind of like, I wasn't in Cincinnati and I was in college and I was kind of like testing my limit. I never once felt like I was unloved as a son. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It's funny you favor him a lot.
Thank you. I say thank you because it was a handsome nigga. You know what I'm saying?
You know, what do you remember that first time looking in the mirror and seeing your dad? Because that happened to me, and I was like, oh shit! Like my facial hair was coming in, and there was just some. Even though my dad was a little darker than me, I looked in the mirror and it looked like he was looking back at me.
Yeah, like they're like the pictures in my mom's basement, like pictures of him. I used to always see myself in him. Like I was like, man, that looked just like me. But like I'm bad with years and shit. So I never really thought about how old he was or what was going on in his life. I'm just like, that's a man that looks like me.
Mm-hmm.
It's my dad. And I want to say it was fairly recent. It wasn't like a long time ago. It was like, in the middle of, I want to say it was about like 4 or 5 years ago, to be honest. Like in my 40s. And I just kind of, I had just turned 40. I mean, I like looked in the mirror one day. I'm like, doing whatever I do. And I stopped and I'm just like, man, yo, you look like your father. Like, you know how everybody be like, you see your relatives like, you looking just like your daddy. Oh, look. Or like you see your mom's friends that you haven't seen since a child. They like, damn, you look like your dad. Cause they know your dad at the age that you are. And you didn't like, like you might see pictures of your father, you might see pictures of your parents, but you don't necessarily, if you're a 16-year-old and your dad's like a 40-year-old, 30-year-old man, you're not looking at him with the same eyes as a person that's seen him at 30, then sees you at 30. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think it was just like, it just kind of washed over me because like, especially over the course of being a parent, like my father passed a few years before I had my daughter. So he never got to see her. She never got to meet him. And it was just like looking at her and seeing how much she looks like me. And then like looking at myself that day, it was just like, oh shit. Like, cause you as a person whose father's not here, I think about him a lot, and I'll try to talk to him and channel him, and like I know he's around.
Yeah.
But it was one of those moments where I was like just missing him, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, I don't have to miss you because you're fucking on my face. Like you're here. I get it, you know what I'm saying? And like when I looked around my apartment and like I have his vinyl collection, or I have the exact same grooming habits as him, like in terms of just like how I structure my clothes and how I like my collection of things. We're kind of just the same person. And it's it's really strange, you know what I'm saying?
Did you used to play in his closet?
Absolutely. Like my father, I'm going to get this chair. Thank you for reminding me this. My father had it was a dressing chair. Basically, he's a veteran, and he was over in Germany and Italy and stuff, and he brought back this chair. It was like a wooden chair. You don't sit in it. You just sit your outfit on it. You know what I'm saying? You can sit in it while you're getting dressed and putting your shoes on, but it's not a comfortable seat. It's a seat for like getting dressed. And it has like a back on it that's like a hanger. So you can put your shirt on it. It has like a little thing for your tie. It has a little tray for your cufflinks. It has a little rack for your shoes. It's some fly shit. It was some fly shit. And I had no idea what it was as a kid. I would be playing on it with my G.I. Joes, and he's, like I'm a kid, I don't care. But how like when you lay your outfit out, like I still do this, I still do it to this day. Like, if it's a good day, I'm getting in the shower, I lay my shit out, get out the shower. Like I just remember him, I remember him like having that dressing. My mom called it a dressing chair, so I'm just assuming it's called a dressing chair. It's probably not. My mom makes up nicknames for stuff a lot. But just like, I forgot what the question was, so I went off in this.
Playing in your dad's closet, that's what led to this.
Like, so like he would have a lot of silk, like he had a lot of silk shirts and leather shit and like really tailored clothes. He got into like dressing and grooming when he was overseas.
Right.
And when it was time to get dressed, I remember specifically, I have one specific memory. He had a red silk shirt, and it was kind of like frayed. He had worn it so much, like the edge of the cuff, you kind of could start to see the white backing. And I remember I was like, if I borrow any one of his shirts, It's that one because that's the one that's the oldest and he probably won't care. And I borrowed that shirt and he cared. that nigga cared. He was mad to the motherfucker. He was like, I remember this outfit. I had the red silk shirt. I had some black leather shorts, and I had the Fila. There was like the Filas that look like Air Force Ones. They kind of like have the thick sole, like the little swoop, the little
Yep.
So I took the shirt. He didn't know I took the shirt. Wore it out the house. And I had my friend. I had a black leather vest, I believe.
Oh my god.
This was the 90s. This was merry-go-round.
I get it.
But I came home from that party, and he was like, I tried to like put the shirt back. Next day, he's like, Dom, he started like, did you wear my shirt?
Did Dad
I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. He's like, look, don't wear my shirt. Don't wear my shirt. So I had to go buy my own at that point. My father was very big on me having my own things. And, you know, part of it was like, don't tear up my shit. Like I remember he that was his say, don't tear up my shit. Go tear up your mama's shit. Don't tear up my shit. But it taught me, like, if anything, that taught me self-sufficiency. Like I got my first job around the time of that silk shirt incident. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, oh, I guess I need to buy my own clothes. And shoveling snow and mowing lawns is depending on the seasons. Let's get some money, you know? Like,
right.
Yeah.
That's funny because anybody who knows me knows I have a slight polo fetish. I'm not low life level, but I love me some Ralph Lauren. And people think, oh, because he's from Brooklyn, he grew up in the 90s. That's part of it, but it came from my dad. The first person I saw wearing polo was my dad. And it was like he pressed shirts to they were like 180 degrees. They were so flat. You know what I'm saying? And he wore it like I want how it was meant to be worn. And I was like, I gotta get me some polo. But you know, back then my father wasn't buying me no damn polo. So I would sneak and say, yo, can I borrow that one? It would be one that maybe he didn't wear as often, but there was some that was completely off limits. Like, oh hell no, you're not wearing. Because there's that you get to that point where you both can wear the same size. You know, when you're coming up, you get to be 16, 17, and you know, your shoulders are a little broader. I'm like, okay, wait, that can actually fit me. I can rock that. My son literally just ran out yesterday with I have a leather motorcycle jacket, Adidas motorcycle jacket I haven't worn in years. I let him borrow it years ago as part of a Halloween costume, and now he's adopted it as his jacket. Like, wearing it. I'm like, wait, what? I'm gonna lose 20 pounds so I can get my jacket back.
That was the permission. That was basically like the passing of the torch. It was just like Halloween costume just became a wardrobe. You know?
And I was like, you're not gonna be hot. He's like, I'm gonna look good, Dad. I said, all right. Like, you got it. I can't even argue with you.
It's twofold. At least you know your son think you have style.
Right.
And at least you know your son got style. You know what
I'm saying? Right. That's why I couldn't even be mad. I was like, you know what? Go ahead, play it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Because like even looking back, like going into his closet now, like because you know my mom saved she saved a select amount of his things. Like some stuff she got rid of. Like I'm pretty sure that silk shirt did not make it post posthumous, but like last time I was home, she like had a pair of these like hard bottoms, these like Italian loafers, and she's like, you want them? And I'm like, that's not really my style, but them shits is fire. Like this trip might be the trip where I'm like, I think I'll take the loafers now and the dressing chair. Thank you very much.
To get that chair, bro, let me tell you, because my dad passed in 2018, and I've come to acquire things of his here and there. I think the first thing was his camera, because my dad was a big, you know, photo person, and I remember I didn't even really ask my mom. I was like, "Oh, this is Dad's camera," and she said, "You're gonna take it?" I was like, "Yeah, this is gonna be mine now." And I have when she was going through his closet, there's this Brooks Brothers shirt that he never wore. Blue and white Brooks Brothers shirt, but it looked like, I'm like, that looks like it's too big for Dad. Like, why do you have that? It fit me perfectly. I said, yeah, this is mine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm rocking this shirt. She was like, go ahead, take it. And there's a couple of other things of his she gave me, but that, like you said, it wasn't really my style, but I had it because it was his, you know?
Yeah. And like even like the thing that I coveted that I wanted the most was his vinyl collection. I've always wanted his vinyl collection. I broke his belt drive turntable like trying to figure out how to DJ back in the 80s. And like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, so for yeah, he was not happy. Man, listen, like if anything, I broke a lot of my dad's shit. I'm like trying to be like him and trying to be myself. But I remember I got the Left My Wallet and El Segundo single. And I remember trying to cut and the turntable just stopped working. I tried to play it off like I didn't do it because it was one house where, you know, we shared the same record player and he found out I broke it. He was not happy about it. But my father also, he didn't believe in, he didn't hit us. So, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really get, it was like he had other means of instilling the fear of God in you. You know what I'm saying? But
I know about that.
Just know that in the next few months, I had to get my own record player. Like, touch my shit anymore.
I feel like that's a rite of passage for us for 70s and 80s babies, because I definitely jacked up my dad, the stylus, on his turntable one time, thinking that I was cleaning it, knowing nothing about technology. There was the little fuzzy, you know, the little fuzzy thing, and I'm like, oh, what's this? And I pulled on it thinking it was like dust, lint, like a lint ball or something, and then I realized, oh shit. Then I put the needle on the record and it stopped playing, and I was like, that's my ass. That's my ass. He came home, and I mean, I had to tell him because he like your dad, his records were his life. He played. Yeah. He came home. He wanted to play his records to relax or whatever, or on Sundays. That was his thing. So when he saw, I was like, I think I did something to the turntable. He's like, you ruined my stylus? What are you doing? I was like, I could not touch that turntable again for several years. And it was all because I think he had just gotten me Thriller for my birthday, and I was trying to play it, and it was all kinds of shit.
And that reminds me, like, honestly, when you asked me a question about seeing my father in my face, like recognize I look like, one of the other big moments was, you know, like when I got his vinyl collection like 2 or 3 years ago. Like when I moved into the bigger place, I went and got the vinyl. But he used to play a lot of Shaka Khan. Like Shaka Khan was his he loved Shaka Khan. And I was playing Shaka Khan, what you gonna do for me? And I was singing along to the record. And I was like, oh my God, we have literally the exact same singing voice. Like it's literally like, and it wasn't this voice 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but like now when I sing that song, I sound just like him. So a lot of times I'll sing it so that I could feel close to him. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Yeah.
I wish I had my dad's voice. My dad had one of them deep, rich mahogany voices, and I'm like, I do not have that. And I interviewed him when I was running Watch Loud about his music collection, how he used to collect. So that's my last remaining I have my father's voice somewhere. And then I'm like, so I always tell people, if you have the opportunity, interview your parents. Just so you have that. You know what I'm saying?
And that's like I did interview my mom once when I was doing a podcast, and I never put it out. I just kind of like have her for posterity. My mom she gave me a recording of my grandmother talking, which is crazy, but I don't have any recordings of my dad. And it like, that's why when I discovered we have the same singing voice, it was just kind of like a moment of like, oh shit, he's here. Because like sometimes I just walk around the house imitating things he would say. Because again, he was funny. He stuttered, and he was such a unique person that like I miss hearing his voice. So like when I talk now, I can hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, I dig it. So now you have this new album coming. Do you have any ruminations on fatherhood or your father coming out on Vaughn and Dawn?
It's a good question. So I don't really, the weird thing is that I don't really talk about parenthood or being a parent in my music at all, really.
Right.
And I think a lot of it is like, even with this podcast, I've been trying to figure out how to articulate feelings about it and how to like talk about it, because, you know, again, like I feel like for a lot of people, at least from the examples that I have and the people that are in my purview, it's very linear. It's very like all the parent-child relationships are the same, and I feel like mine is so different. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not around her 24/7. So like we go weeks and sometimes months without seeing each other because of COVID. But we do talk a lot, and we do like text and we FaceTime and we call. So it's a unique relationship to parenting, but it's also one in which I have to be careful how I articulate it, because it's very easy to assume context and people misconstrue what you're saying because you're assuming they have context, or you know, like I can't set up all the backstory and then just I got to make sure that I'm doing it proper justice, which is even in doing this interview, this podcast, part of me was just like, so you're gonna talk about this shit now? because if you like, even with one word no space like that, my little girl healthy, she happy when she see me, like that's kind of the most that I talk about being a father. Like I've written songs about it, but I've never recorded the songs or put them out, mainly because it feels so close to home, and it feels like you know, I won't say I'm hiding it from myself, but I'll say that like I'm grappling with it still. But the album definitely, this album, honestly, man, it's just fly. It's fly shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just like rapping. It's me and Von went in with the idea to not really go heavy with the concepts and just kind of give everybody meat and potatoes, beats and rhymes. You know what I'm saying? Like there are a couple of conceptual songs that talk about police violence. There's a song that talks about growing old growing old. You know what I'm saying? In the projects, and growing old in the projects, and looking back on your childhood and realizing that, you know, the depictions of the hood, like, you know, the hood is just like the worst place in America, the worst place on earth. Don't go to the hood. But people grew up in the hood. People fell in love in the hood. People, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of good memories associated with that shit too. So, you know, so concepts like that, the concepts this time are a lot more nuanced and kind of like subtle. And you know what I'm saying? We definitely didn't go like, we were building a city. We just kind of left Earth on the cover art. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, but I saw one of the Von's tweets. It was something, took a shot at the billionaires going in space.
Yeah.
What's behind that cover though? Like that it felt like Follow the Leader, but with the
shit,
you know?
Yo, I gotta tell him that. Yo, oh my God. You just blew my mind. I never thought about that. I never made that connection. And like I see them side by side.
Yeah.
So the cover art, COVID fucked up the cover art. The first cover was going to be, because again, the album is just about like we really wanted to like make it about just community and about like who we see as family. So we had a photo shoot scheduled, and it was gonna be like we were gonna make our own version of that XXL photo of the Gordon. Is it Gordon Parks, right?
Yes.
Great day.
Yes.
We're gonna make our own. We're gonna make our own like take on it, not necessarily version of it, but inspired by it, where we had like assembled a group of people, and you know what I'm saying, like people on the album, people in our community, people who we just love, like you would have got a call, you know what I'm saying, like just the homie, and people who've supported our career along the way.
Right.
And COVID, so we had to like figure out like what's the alternate cover. That was my idea. And I was just like, you know what? I'm so married to this idea that I can't like Von. I'll defer to you, because what people probably, I don't know if people notice or not, but like the Tanya Morgan artwork has been my thing. Like I've always done the artwork. You know what I'm saying? I've either physically or art directed it, like creative directed it. And I was just like, I'm throwing my hands up on this one. Like this was the idea. This was the idea of all ideas.
Right.
Go crazy. And Von, he floated a couple ideas past, and that was one. And you know, like after he floated the idea past, I was like, so what why that image? And he was just like, you know, we just kind of we've always built our own world, so let's just sit back and admire the world we built. You know what I'm saying? Like in a way, it's looking at our career in a way and looking at everything we've accomplished. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Sure, there are other levels that you can hit in your career, but for the most part, you know, you got to appreciate the level that you did hit. You know, and that's kind of like where the cover art stems from, and it's also one of those open to interpretation things where like the viewer is more than welcome to assume whatever they want to about the imagery. We just didn't want to we didn't want it to be some literal cover about the music or about like what picture of me and Bond just like hanging out. We wanted to
I would have imagined you two in like your COVID masks, and all you can see is your eyes. It's Von and Don. Like this is 2021 images you can get.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, it's just us taking a long view at everything we've done and taking a long view at the world and taking a long view of just like, in a lot of ways, me and him are just, that's why the title's Don and Von. Like we're stepping aside from the Tanya Morgan thing, the Tanya Morgan group name, and just being like, hey, this is who we are on display. And it's just me and him, like alone in a world of our own. And that world is not Earth. You know what I'm saying? we have joined the billionaire space race and left Earth too.
I love it. An early fave is Tanya in the Sky. Is it Tanya in the Sky with Diamonds is the full title?
I think so. I don't know the name. Oh, I know
it's track 2.
It's track 2. Yeah, that's the one. Cause so like this man, like maybe this is age, but the song titles confuse me now. Like I keep mixing up So Good and Whole Mood and like Tanya in the Sky and We Go High and In the Sky. It's like so many. The song titles confuse me, and I feel like I always jokingly say I have early onset Alzheimer's because I just forget shit. But it's Tanya in the Sky. Yeah. I was trying to make him name it Tanya in the Sky, and he was like, "No, that's not."
Tanya in the Sty.
Yeah, like Bed-Stuy.
And Bed-Stuy.
Like,
oh,
like a pun. He did not. He was not
it.
down with the pun. He was not. He's like, no.
He's like, Sky Zoo's got Brooklyn on lock right now. no Brooklyn references.
We're in the sky. We're in
the sky. Nah, that one's an early fave. I have to get through the rest of it. But I was backtracking, preparing for this, playing your solo stuff. And I got to play, this one a little bit. So I like what I hear so far.
I would say in terms of my solo stuff, my favorite solo album of all that I've done is the one that I just put out called Space. It's mostly instrumental.
Okay.
I rap on it once. Von raps on it once, but it's produced by me for the most part. And I would say that one's my favorite. I know you didn't ask me this, but I'm telling you. Because
no, go ahead.
I would say that was my favorite just because I think it's a very clear reflection of exactly where I am in this moment. You know what I'm saying? Like it talks about, the album itself is about just like, where do we go and where do we belong as a black person? You know what I'm saying? Like in America and just like, we were brought here against our will. We don't, in a lot of ways, we have to figure out how to be here.
Right.
People don't want us here. And I communicated all of that effectively through production. And that, I feel like that was a very big feat for me because, like I rap. I put words together for a living. I know how to rap. But right. I was like, how do I make a statement without saying anything really? And I feel like I accomplished it. So that's like something I'm really proud of in terms of like discography.
Space. All right. So don't be like Jerry. Go listen to Space. Go listen to Donwill Space. Go listen to Von and Don when it drops August 13th. I think there's a single out already. What's the first or two?
There's two. The first one we put out is Whole Mood with Jack Davey. And
I love Jay Davey too. Yeah.
Bruh, she blessed that joint.
Yep.
Like we asked her for a verse, she turned in so much more than just a verse. Like there was a hook. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? But second one is So Good with Cooley High.
Mm-hmm.
That's out right now, and the album drops on the 13th, but we're putting out another song on the release date, which is we got Maroof on We Go High.
Okay.
Maroof is cat out of Jersey. He's fucking crazy. He's down with Jesse Boykins, Camp, Jesse Boykins, and like he's just embedded in the New Jersey scene. He's one of those dudes, like
dope.
Yeah.
So everybody go out and cop, because this will be out before that comes out. So go out and buy, stream Von and Don. Go back and why isn't Don Cusack on streaming?
It's not on streaming?
Well, it's not on Spotify. Maybe it's on Tidal. Because I went looking for it. I saw it on Amazon for purchase, I think. But
it might not if it's not
unless I'm just bad at searching. Let me see.
I don't know, but like we in the middle of COVID, we acquired our catalog back. We acquired the rights to all of our catalog. So there might be a hiccup with it getting ported over to streaming. And that's
Laura's song is on Spotify, but not the full album. So maybe it's just taking.
Oh, wait. You know what? This is what I mean about my memory. I took it down.
Oh, okay.
I could put it back up.
Why'd you take it down? You didn't like it?
You know, like I'm gonna be 100. Since this is the most vulnerable I've ever been on any podcast, I'm just gonna say that flat out. Like literally, I've never been this vulnerable. I almost cried talking about my dad. You didn't know that though, haha. But it's something about like I just don't like the audio quality of the album. Like there are certain songs that aren't mixed correctly. Like, and when I did that album, I was working with a guy named Ethan, who was doing the mixing, and just the mixes, they don't hit. I don't like the way it's mixed. Like I know that has nothing to do with anything, and people that like the album, but for me, it's just like it's not the best representation of my work. But people have been like, "Yo, get it up, let's get it on vinyl." People want the album, so I'll put it back up. I'll put it. You know what? Exclusive right here. Jerry wants the album on streaming. Don Cusack coming to streaming. It's coming to streams.
Okay.
When it comes to Spotify, I'm gonna put a little sticker on the new cover art that says Jerry did this.
I'll take it, man. I'll take it. Yo, Don, well, thank you so much for coming on. This has been Fathers Who Bother, episode 49 with Donwill of Tanya Morgan.
We did it.
Go out and stream, cop, buy, go to his shows when he has them, go listen to him DJ, go watch his stand-up, go do all that. And when you see him, buy him a beer because dads need them.
We do.
Yo, so enjoy the rest of your summer with your daughter, and going outside safely. And I'm sure I'll see you in these streets.
Absolutely, man. Let's get together when the screens aren't involved. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. All right. Thanks a lot, Don. And everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again.
Peace.
Peace.
If you're enjoying Fathers Who Bother, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow us on Instagram @Fathers Who Bother and Twitter @Fathers Who Be.